So, should our young dudes and dudettes, if they've not got jobs and they're aged between 16 and 24, should they be made to work for charities for 3 months for free in order to get their job seekers allowance? It's been proposed by the government. It's been trialled, as I understand it, I think in 13 London boroughs. What do you make of that this morning? That's my first question of the day to you this morning. Should 16 to 24-year-olds be made to work for charities for 3 months for free to get their job seekers allowance? Would it work? I would love to hear from you. You can tweet me at BBC Bernsey. Trevor Fish on the Twitter has already said, yes, and a body on the dole should be made to do drugs tests. Fail a drugs test, then zero benefits. Chris Wynn on Twitter says, why not national service instead? Martin Brown on Twitter at Orchard 4x4 says, Bernsey sounds about right. Similar principle to the Victorian workhouses, I believe. Fan64, I've got your message, but I'm not going to read that one out, but thank you very much for that. Steve Lister says, at BBC Bernsey, I'm 19, and I think if 16 to 24-year-olds have been unemployed for 6 months plus, they should work for charity. I found a job, no problem, as a trainee accountant within 3 months, and I volunteer with Dove House Hospice as well. I love it. You can join in. You can tweet me at BBC Bernsey, or you can call, text or email. And we could have had a record there, but we're not going to, because I didn't mean to press that button. It's a late night at Doncaster Rovers, and that's what I'm blaming that one on. Well, you will, if you are a Girls Aloud fan, and frankly, why wouldn't you be, get a bit of Girls Aloud in a bit. Possibly. This is the button I meant to press.
Contact David Burns. Text 81333 and start your message with RH. Call Hull 225 959 or Grimsby 340 959 or email bernsey@bbc.co.uk.
Do join in. I'm being informed it's the government are saying 18, not 16 to 24, so we'll go with 18 to 24. Should they be made to work for charities for 3 months for free to get their job seekers allowance? That's an idea being touted by the Employment Minister, Chris Grayling. I saw a quote from him saying, you know, you don't want them lying in bed till lunchtime, then getting up and playing computer games. Can I just say morning to my middle son? Hope you're well, son. Well, he won't be up yet. Under the plans, they will have to work for at least 30 hours a week and will then get a guaranteed 10 hours a week to help prepare their CV and search for a job. It will be initially launched in London, but one would expect it to be rolled out across the rest of the country. How do you think this might affect you and yours? I would love to hear from you. Let's talk to Ian Dalton from the Yorkshire branch of Youth for Jobs campaign on the phone this morning. Ian, morning to you. Thank you very much for your time. What do you make of this? What are your thoughts on this scheme?
Well, to me, it just seems like another scheme from the government to provide cheap labour to companies. There is a massive issue of youth unemployment, but the government's own research from the Department for Work and Pensions shows that these schemes have zero effect, and this is their own words, zero effect on people being able to find work as a result.
Well, you say for companies, this is specifically for charities, as I understand it, Ian. Is that not a good thing?
I mean, I'm all in favour of charities being able to do work. The stuff I've seen about the scheme says it's for charities and some businesses that are in the community interest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who decides what's in the community interest? It's probably going to be officials of some sort, not actually people living in that community deciding for themselves what they'd like to see. But the real issue for people is a lack of jobs. There's 2.5 million people employed in the country and only 500,000 jobs. And of those jobs that are there, many of them are part-time, which people, will need to have several of to earn enough money, or they require certain skills, security licenses, things like that cost a fair bit of money to get in the first place. And if you saw, I think that the real issue is actually getting, training for people so they can work in those areas. Or actually, if there's things that need doing, then why can't the government, actually put money in and create...
He was just getting going there, Ian. We'll get Ian back in a minute. Ian, are you back?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. It might have been a technical fault at our end, but you were just getting going. Continue your flow. Yeah. We're listening with interest.
I don't know where you left off, because I was...
you were on one.
I was just trying to explain, why can't they, invest in training and actual jobs for people rather than these schemes which, at the end of it, it's all very well getting 13 weeks experience, but there's still no jobs being created for people, and
is it not because they would say, the government would say, we're skint, we've got to do something, and there are not enough jobs at the moment. This is a way to try and get young people with a bit of work experience, then to give something back in exchange for their job seekers allowance.
But the thing is, though, it's I mean, job seekers allowance is there as a kind of something that kind of keeps people able to look for work and so forth. What the government should be doing is, as I've said, is investing in jobs. And, they will say they don't have money to recession and stuff like that, but there's £120 billion each year in uncollected taxes from, corporations. The wealthy people will remember Vodafone being let off £6 billion worth of tax, last year. But there's also big reserves for companies. The Economist estimates that at £750 billion in the UK alone. This is all money that's there, but it's overwhelmingly companies that have benefited from workfare schemes in the past, like Tesco's, McDonald's, and so on, that have been in the news earlier in the year. That are the companies that aren't, that have this money and, essentially hoarding it and keeping it away from society.
Will it not teach young people and give them a chance to establish a work ethic and get something on their CV? Can you not see advantages in that?
I mean, with this whole question of work ethic, it's sort of assumed that young people don't have a work ethic, but the only way you can kind of get into the kind of routine of working is to actually have an actual job. But who's to say if these young people were given jobs that they wouldn't have that anyway?
I accept that,
I was unemployed,
yeah.
and what kind of, what I found, what kind of, so I ended up staying in bed till slightly later and stuff like that. Because if you've got nothing to get up for, then why bother getting up almost?
But what I think that is being proposed, they would have something to get up for. They'd be able to go to a charitable organisation or a community group and give 30 hours a week. They would get some purpose. They would learn some skills. They would make a contribution to the community in exchange for getting their job seekers allowance. Is that not a good thing?
Well, I don't think you should be forced into it. I mean, there's the case of the woman in Birmingham who took a court case out against the DUP, who had, something she was trying to volunteer in to get work in that area, but then was ordered onto one of these schemes to work elsewhere. And I think
is this the girl that was working for Tesco?
Yeah,
shelf stacking
pound. I think it was Pound Stretch on
right.
Poundland.
But, well, this scheme would...
You could be working for a charity, but that might not be in the area where, you think you'd be able to get work in the future. There's no guarantee of this leading to work.
No, I think we'd probably all accept that, wouldn't we?
That's the biggest issue of all, really. That's the fundamental issue.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's supposed to, it's supposed to be kind of volunteering at a charity 30 hours a week, but... if you're being forced to do it, then that's not volunteering. Yeah,
well, they wouldn't get their job seekers allowance then. What do you think the impact of that would be?
Well, I think there's various other measures that have been said about taking away benefits from people. There's cuts to housing benefit taking place, cuts to council tax benefit taking place. That what's going to happen as a result of that is, initially it'll be people trying to fall back on family and friends and so forth. People going to food banks. There's the use of food banks has already gone up by 100% in the last year. But also from that, you could see people going into other areas that, as a society, we won't want to see. Things like crime, prostitution, and so on.
Can you stay with me, Ian? Debbie Bell on the Twitter at BBC Bernsey says, yes, they should. How else will they get motivated? Let's talk to Daniel Redhead, who's 17. He's a student from John Leggett College. He was an Olympic torchbearer in Scunthorpe. He was nominated by his best friend's mum. His friend James died due to leukaemia, and since Daniel has raised thousands of pounds for leukaemia and lymphoma research. Let's talk to Daniel on the programme this morning. Stay with us, Ian. Daniel, morning to you. Thank you very much for your time. What do you make of this? 18 to 24-year-olds should be made to work for charities for 3 months for free to get their job seekers allowance. Do you think it's a good idea?
Good morning.
Morning.
Well, you know, it's quite a positive idea, in all honesty, Bernsey, because, you know, if people haven't got work and they can't find work, which is, you know, an issue for people at the moment, then, you know, why shouldn't they get some experience under the belt, something to put on the CV, and it could lead to helping them get a job. Not necessarily, you know, working for a charity, but it's that experience and that willingness that's been shown on the CV, which can help, you know, lead to jobs.
What you've been doing voluntary and charity work. What have you got out of it?
Yes, I have. Well, you learn a lot of leadership skills. You know, you learn a lot of sort of public relations as well when you're working with other people, but also working with the public when they're supporting your events or they're, you know, wanting to learn things from you. So it is definitely a benefit.
What are you going to do? Are you facing you're still at college at the moment, so what are your plans?
That's right. I'm going to be heading off to uni. Well, I've got another year to go at John Leggett, then I'm hoping to go off to university. But, I mean, I've got a part-time job as well after college, and the fact that I'd had charity work on my CV was, you know, a huge benefit. My employers saw that, and they were very interested, and that's part of the reason why I managed to be able to get that job. Okay,
what's the situation like for your mates? Are they all in the same boat, or are there some struggling? What's the situation? Paint a picture for us.
Well, I've got a lot of friends that are looking for a job, you know, a part-time job, something that they can do after college or at the weekend to, you know, to try and earn a bit of money ready before they go to university. And it's quite tough to be able to find something, really, especially, you know, when it's people of the age 16, 17, they can't drive, they need something local. It's quite challenging to find something. Okay,
you're obviously doing your charity work. Have you got a big event coming up?
We've got our big copper count up.
Tell me about that.
Sorry?
Tell me about that.
It's a big money container that's travelling. It travels around local businesses. It's currently at the Winterton medical practice, and I'm going to be going over there to pick it up on Thursday ahead of counting it all up on Friday. So I've got part of the team coming round to get counting all the coppers up, and we'll see what's being raised there. Okay.
Have you got a Facebook page or a website where people can find out more about the charity work you're involved in?
Yeah, we've got, if people search the Big Copper Count up on Facebook, there's a page for that. And we've also got a Winterton and District branch page on Facebook, so that's just a general one for the charity. Or we've got a website, which is www.wix.com, that's wix.com/beat blood cancers.
Okay.
Winterton and District.
All right. Daniel, stay with us. Ian Dalton. Daniel says it's a good idea. He's benefited from working for a charity. It's got him a part-time job because it's been on his CV.
Yeah, well, I think any experiences people have on the CV will help, but there's no reason to suggest why, you know, working for a charity could be better than any other sort of voluntary community activity people may want to get into. But I think the thing that I mean that sort of will be slightly different from what Daniel says. Daniel's obviously got a part-time job.
Yeah.
But the real problem for these people are 18 to 24-year-olds who are on job seekers allowance is they're not after part-time work, they're after full-time work. And that's precisely where there isn't the jobs. There are part-time jobs. There's been an increase in part-time jobs during the recession, but there's been a massive decrease in full-time jobs. So a lot of people having to work multiple part-time jobs, which is difficult finding ones that aren't going to clash, because usually when employers have part-time work, it's usually because they want flexibility. They want people to be able to work extra, but you can't do that if you've got another job to go to.
Are you better taking something rather than nothing?
Sometimes not. You know, if you're reliant on, for example, if you've been in work, you've got a house, you've lost that job, and you need the housing benefit to keep you going, then often you can be worse off in work than out of work if you're working less than 20 hours a week, because the amount you're getting in won't make up that lost amount. And this is it's the issue of not having full-time work where you can actually earn enough money to pay your way through. It's not, I would say, in some of those cases, if I found myself in a position where I had to turn down the job for 16 hours because I wouldn't have had enough, I would have lost my benefits but not had enough money to pay for my housing and my bills. OK,
chaps, nice to talk to you. Daniel, all the best to you, and to you as well, Ian. Thank you very much for your time this morning. We'll see what people think. That was Daniel Redhead from Scunthorpe, and Ian Dalton from the Yorkshire Branch of Youth for Jobs campaign. What do you think this morning? Call me, text me, email me. You can tweet me at BBC Burnsy. These are the numbers.
Contact David Burns. Text 81333 and start your message with RH. Call Hull 225